Do you know that using agile management technique will increase productivity by 60% and predictability by 40%? All that while allowing you to make agile changes to your plan to respond to business demands. What's even crazier is the fact that you can do that with the same team and the same cost. In this video, we will talk about the difference between a conventional management method known as waterfall and Scrum, an agile one. Big companies like Apple, Meta, and Twitter use this technique for their projects. Hello, I am Wala, and this is Opportunity Channel. A little bit about myself. I'm an AI researcher and tech math lover. The name of this channel is Opportunity, which is application and opportunity together. I hope you got that. On this channel, we will talk about things that I really love, and I hope I can pass some of my experience. We'll talk about AI, machine learning, and mathematics. But what I really hope to do is to break down big complex subjects into easy to understand and enjoyable ones. In this video, we'll briefly explain the difference between Scrum and the waterfall. Let's start with the waterfall, and let's take an example of a project. Let's say that you have an application that you want to develop, and it consists of two main connected systems: an online store, an e-commerce website, and an inventory system. In the waterfall technique, and as the name suggests, the development happens in stages, one after the other. It starts by taking the requirements in details, and that includes a full description of each feature of the application. And as for the cost, a contract negotiation will take place to set the exact cost with very minimal room to accept changes. And from there, and after the contract is done, the next stage will be to make a precise analysis and a detailed system architecture design. This will hold a vivid plan for the development stage. So from there, lo and behold, the programming starts. But let's have a quick stop here. You see, let's say that you started the programming stage and you are somewhere in the middle, and for some reason you wanted to make some changes. Let's say changing some online feature. You can imagine that this can be very difficult to imply or even impossible, and you would want to recalculate the costs again, because you might have to go to the square one and redesign the whole solution in some cases. But enough about that for now. So after the development phase finishes, developers test the solution as a whole, and they launch the first beta version, and from there to the final release. Now, this is the conventional way, but if you were the client, you can tell why this might be a bit uncomfortable. First, you were not involved during the programming stage, meaning the whole thing is just like a black box to you. You don't know if they overcharge you. Second, as we said, you can do many changes. And third, if you were to see the application while it's being developed, you could actually be part of the development and cast your own ideas. And for sure, you being the owner of the application, your ideas really matter. Now, let's take the same example but with Scrum technique. At the beginning, you will sit with the team, and they will understand from you the application functionality, and then they will represent for you the technology and the system architecture that they will use. Amongst this team, there's a person whose title is the product owner. The product owner is a person whose job is to bridge the gap between you and the technical team. So you will find it easy to talk and communicate with the technical team. You see, in Scrum, the coding itself will happen in small iterations or cycles. Each cycle consists of 4 main points: design, develop, test, and release. The next cycle will take the feedback and redo the whole 4 points again. Now, to explain that more, let's go back to our example. Let's say that you prioritize the development of the inventory system. Well, you remember the product owner we talked about? He actually has more jobs. So he and the team will divide the system into fully described stories. You can think of a story as a small function, such as a login function or notification in the app. The team then will take a bunch of those stories and they will start developing them in what's called a sprint. A sprint is usually a 2 to 4 week iteration, or a cycle, as we said before, where the developers will design, develop, test, and release a bunch of those stories. At the end of each sprint, each person on the team demos their work to you and to each other. This will allow you to see the team, and also will give you a space to give your direct feedback. And here is where the magic of an agile technique really shines. I mean, think about it. You can actually put your feedback before the next sprint starts and try the look and feel of those smaller pieces of the application, from its front end design to some performance readings, for example. This will allow you to see the application before it takes an unwanted path, and to make the changes before it gets long gone from what was in mind. And that's not all. You can also make minor or even major changes before the application parts are put together. And by those changes, I don't mean the ones that were in the scope of work. Let's say that in our example, you wanted to add a third system, a delivery system. You can actually start with it in the middle of the development. This responsiveness to change is why it's called agile. Now, regarding the cost, you usually pay for the hours the team spent, which still won't differ much from the waterfall technique. There are many other great advantages in Scrum, one of which is creating knowledge sharing environment where junior developers sit with senior ones with one goal in mind: meet the deadline of each sprint as a team. And if you think about it, Scrum creates a self-motivated and managed team. And this, for me personally, is the most important factor. Now, let's point out 3 major advantages of using Scrum. First is transparency. Meeting the team every sprint allows you to know who's who and who's doing what, unlike the isolation that happens between the client and the actual coder in the waterfall technique. And that derives us to the second point, which is the ease of inspection in Scrum. Lastly is the responsiveness. That being said, running Scrum is not that easy. And I personally find a sentence from the Scrum guide to be really fascinating. I quote, "Scrum is simple to understand, difficult to master." Even though in theory Scrum sounds easy, but things can go very wrong very fast. So companies usually hire a Scrum Master, a person whose job is to make sure that Scrum is correctly implemented, and that requires an experienced individual because, as some might argue, Scrum is a philosophy more than just being a technique. If you want to learn more about Scrum, I will leave some links in the description down below. And if you want us to make a special video about Scrum, please leave it in the comment. Now, to sum it all up, we can say that Scrum values individuals and interaction more than fixed process and tools. And that has a great benefit, but also comes with many challenges. Second, what really matters in Scrum is working software, while Waterfall really depends on comprehensive documentation. And as you can see, Scrum consider you to be a part of the process, regardless of your background, while Waterfall is more tied up by the contract itself. Tell us what you think about those techniques and which method is best for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to learn something special about AI or machine learning, please mention it in the comment below. We do read it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you learned something today, and if you like this video, just like it. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. This one is bad again. Yeah.
Hello, I am Daniel on this opportunity channel, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you soon. Okay, everybody?
Okay, everybody. I'll see you soon. That's it.
And Newton.